Jessica. Welcome and welcome back to the Not Carrie Bradshaw YouTube channel / podcast where I discuss all things style, wellness, pop culture, and whatever else comes up from week to week. We are back. We are delayed but not denied. Can I get an amen from the congregation and whatnot? I have several things to catch you guys up on. So let's go ahead and get started. As per usual, we have to kick things off with our fashion segment because I am an eternal and aspiring fashion girly, okay? I want to say something that I thought everyone was up on game about, but apparently this is like a gem that I drop on people. When I'm out and I get a compliment on my nails, and I always tell people, oh, Pinterest. They're like, really? And I'm like, where do y'all get y'all's inspo from? Like, are you just going into the nail shop raw dogging it? Like, you go in there and you don't know what you're going to get at all? Or are you super locked in with your nail tech and you just tell your nail tech, freestyle it? I always go to Pinterest first. I have a huge Pinterest board of nail designs for short, long, medium, schmedium, square, almond. It runs the gamut. Like, y'all know, if you're new here, I love Pinterest. I think Pinterest is, even though it has gotten populated with ads, don't get me wrong, and we did have a little situation a couple of weeks ago where people accounts was getting deleted. I ain't gonna hold you. However, I still find it to be one of the better apps for creative inspiration. When I can't think of something to wear to work the next day, I just scroll my Pinterest board, and that's how I come up with a lot of my outfits that in my mind I'm just kind of like throwing together. But especially if I need to know how to rework or rewear something that I already own, because y'all know I love to rewear my clothes, I just go to a Pinterest board and I'm like, oh, I like that color combo. I got that color combo. I just do that. I swear by Pinterest. Even when I start with new styling clients who, there's some people that will come to me who need to be styled for an event or for a photo shoot. But I have some styling clients that want like a full wardrobe rehaul. And I always tell them, go to Pinterest and just browse. Search things that you've been curious about, that you've been interested in, and see what comes up for you, and come back to me with some of like your favorite Pinterest images so that I can understand what it is you want to say about yourself from a style perspective based on those images. It helps me to kind of know what their vibe is, or the word that everybody loves to use these days, what aesthetic you want to go for. So get into Pinterest, honey. I thought everybody knew about Pinterest as the go-to girl for creative inspo. Maybe it's a millennial thing, but I'm letting y'all know. Go back to Pinterest. So I'm going to tell you guys like a brief little story. It's relevant, so stay with me. Many, many moons ago, when I was still a baby New Yorker, I had only been here for a couple of years, I used to be so fascinated on the train when I would see people put on their makeup on the train. New York trains are not steady as she go. They rock, they wobble. And to see someone put on black cat eye eyeliner on a moving subway, baby, you need to be a ninja. You need to be in the CIA or something. Like, you need to be a spy. That is a level of precision and self-trust that I have never known, okay? One day, I watched a girl pull out her birth control pack from her purse, and it looked like she had just remembered to take it. And if you've ever seen a pack of birth control pills, like they're very, very tiny, tiny little pills. Very tiny little pills. And I knew it was going to happen before she knew it was going to happen. She dropped that tiny, tiny little pill. And we both watched it fall to the floor. And we locked eyes. And I looked at her like, girl, you going to get it or what you going to do? And there's about 15, I'm not going to say 15 seconds. We'll say she honored the 5 second. She picked it up. And I saw her think about it. And I was so invested in what choice she was going to make. And she literally blew that pill, like blew it off, did the sign of the cross across her chest, and took that pill. And I just was like, I understand. And I said that to say, people who don't want to have children really don't want to have children, and we shouldn't put them in a position where they should be forced to have children. If that woman was willing to risk botulism or the bubonic plague or whatever lives on a New York subway floor to avoid pregnancy, that should tell you something. That should tell you something. I just want to throw that out there for anyone who has strong feelings about a woman's right to choose. People who don't want to have children really don't want to have children, at least not at that time. And people need the ability to make that choice for themselves. I believe that parenthood is a calling, like priesthood, like being in healthcare, like being a teacher. Everybody just ain't meant to do that. And we shouldn't force people into it. So we need to destigmatize and legalize access to free, safe, legal abortions and also birth control. I just feel like nobody uses birth control anymore. I don't know what's going on. I see so many conversations of young Black women being so afraid of it, and it's like there's so many options. You don't have to take a pill every day. There's non-hormonal. There's so many options. And while we still have the option in some places, I just want to encourage people to use your resources and help facilitate other people's ability to have that access. Anywho, that's me stepping down off of my soapbox for now. Y'all, I realized in the past, however long this has been since we talked, let's say like 2 weeks, I'm not ready to date. She's not ready. She is not in a place where she can practice what she preaches in terms of being brave. I'm not yet brave. I feel suspicious. You know how every now and again you just feel like you got the juice, like you're just attracting a lot of people, and it's like, oh, me? Hello. I promise y'all, I have never been the girl in my friend group that when all of us would go out, even like in our 20s, when everyone thinks that that's the best you'll ever look, I don't believe in that for myself personally. I've never looked or felt better. But anyway, back when we were like, I mean, from high school up until now, honestly, I was never the girl that all the guys were really into. There's a number of reasons for that, but I just made my peace with it around like maybe middle school. They're like, oh, I'm not like I'm not the pretty one in the group. Like, I'm the one who's funny, the one who dresses well. At the time, I was the one with the huge boobs, but I wasn't the pretty one in the group, or at least I wasn't the one that all the guys were the most attracted to, right? So when I step out and I'm getting attention from dudes that I would actually be interested in, I'm like, oh, what's going on? Have the planets aligned in some sort of way? It's always a little bit, I'm always a little taken aback by it. And I never know like what the factors are that made that so. However, long story short, there is a person that I had seen in Brooklyn like for a while, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. We started chatting and he was giving very ideal answers to questions to the point that I was like, did ChatGPT help you with this? I found it suspicious because it was too accurate. So I had to have this whole conversation with myself of, are you one of those women who only likes toxic men? Is this a trauma response? Or are you just trying to move more cautiously in your dating life moving forward? Like following the breakup. I don't even call that a breakup. I call that a divorce. Because I've never dated anyone in my life. Okay? Statute of limitations. I've never dated anyone in my life. But it's coming up on a year since the breakup / divorce, and I just still don't think that I'm ready to get to know anyone in a romantic way. I'm still nervous. I'm still not trusting. I'm still finding the balance between, because I used to navigate the world really, or dating, but the world as in I trust you until you give me a reason not to. What I'm transitioning to as a more secure person is I treat everyone with the same amount of respect, kindness, blah, 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 blah. But I'm practicing optimistic discernment. We'll call it that, or whatever else I come up with at a later time. I don't trust you fully as a stranger. I will give you a chance to earn my trust, but I am still going to move about that very cautiously. And my sister was like, are you sure this isn't because, like, you know, where we were raised, we have kind of been socialized to be attracted to these certain toxic traits and da-da-da. And I'm like, baby, I'm a very well-read feminist. Okay, not the most well-read, but very well-read feminist. I know what you're saying. I know that everything, like our attraction and our preferences are based on a myriad of things, right? Like internal and external. We don't exist in a vacuum. So our preferences come from somewhere. So I do acknowledge that I have some internalized misogyny or some antiquated ideas about the kind of partner that I want, but I am somewhat flexible on that, especially as I have gotten older and read more and came to understand that I also need to have a broader definition of how I define masculinity. I can take all of that into consideration. And yes, and the dating pool has medical waste, fecal matter, and human remains in it, right? Like, I had to tell my sister, like, babe, you've been married for almost a decade. You're not out here. You don't know what it's like, honey. You know what it's like for us. These niggas is crazy, okay? We can't take the chances at 37 that we were taking, even at 35, at 30. I don't have time for that. Not only that, I think that going through the last relationship gave me some sort of immunity to even the desire for a romantic partnership right now. I know that I will want it eventually, but I like my life so much right now. We are still transitioning into the new job, getting our feet under the desk, as my new boss puts it. I have like a pretty full social calendar for the summer. I'm seeing and spending time with my friends here. I've had friends come in from out of town. Like, I'm in a really, really good place. I'm not in a rush to change that for anyone or for anything. Like, I genuinely feel a lot of joy and fulfillment right now. So, and none of those things can replace, you know, romantic partnership. I will grant you that those things aren't, you know, interchangeable. However, I do feel very full and satisfied in my life right now. So I just don't feel pressed about dating. So my fellow single girl in arms, platonic wife, and I decided that for the next possibly 6 to 9 months, all anybody can be to us is a friend. Like, we're figuring our things out, honey. We not pressed about it, and we got to process some things from the past situations to make sure that we're moving forward in the way we want to move forward, because I am not one of those people. I will not allow the previous man to take away my ability to trust or to move forward with hope and with optimism and with love and with freedom and ease. I'm not gonna let that man take that away from me. I refuse, because I'm not giving somebody that kind of control over my future, right? But I do want to make sure that I am brave enough to step into the dating arena. And, you know, I was very vocal about that. Like, I told the person, like, hey, bruh, like, I'm not really trying to get to know anyone romantically right now, but I would like to get to know you as a person. And he was very cool about it, and we love that. We appreciate that. So that's that for the dating portion, right? Okay. I love the podcast Tell Me Something Messy. That podcast is led by Brandon Kyle Goodman, and they discuss, I think I've talked about it on here before, but they discuss all kinds of relationships and sex acts and things. It's a way of destigmatizing and releasing the shame associated with sex, basically. And one of the things that they say is, who would you be if society didn't get a hold of you? So a couple of weeks ago, or however long ago, because I just kind of pop in and out depending on who the guest is, Joel Kim Booster, one of my favorite comedians, he is so gorgeous and he is so funny. I love his stand-up special. Also love him on Loot on Apple TV. But both Brandon Kyle Goodman. So Brandon Kyle Goodman went from being in a open relationship to now a poly relationship, and Joel Kim Booster and his partner are open. And they were discussing how people respond to them expressing that they have a different kind of, commitment to their partners. And it really got me to thinking, because some of the things that we as your standard heteronormative, monogamous, people, the retorts that we tend to have for people that are monogamish. And they were like, well, aren't you worried that that person's just going to leave you for one of the people that they're sleeping with? And he was like, how is that different than what would happen to you as a monogamous person? A lot of times people are pretending to be monogamous. And if you're just out in the world, are you not at risk of your partner desiring someone else and leaving you for them? That happens all the time in alleged monogamous relationships. And I said, oh shit, never considered that. Also, what was the other point? Well, what's the point of being married if you want to sleep with other people? And they were like, is that all that marriage is? Is it just saying that I'm never going to sleep with anyone else? Shouldn't marriage be about a whole lot more than just, I'm promising that I'll never sleep with another person? Is marriage just rooted in sex? Because marriage is supposed to be about a whole lot more than that. Fair fucking point. So I know many, many moons ago, before I moved here, I was in a somewhat open relationship with a person that I didn't think that I would ever love anybody as much as I loved that man. I didn't think I would ever be as attracted to or as in awe of anybody as I was to that man. He was like, one of the hottest things that a man can do is not fawn over me. Like, I want to know that you are attracted to me and, whatever. But I wasn't always dating people that were on my same level socially, I'll say. And what I loved so much about him was that he was not intimidated or impressed by, if we went out somewhere, everybody might know me or something like that. And it was very alluring to just kind of feel like a safety and a comfort with this person that had like the same social advantages as me. And he seemed to just like really understand me in this very profound way. But I moved here. Like, I wasn't gonna not come here to pursue this, to be with him or, be a stepmother to his child. So I would visit him. Obviously, every time I visited home, he was like a huge priority for me. And yeah, one day he just said, like, I met somebody. I think I really want to be serious with her. And, I said, hey, I support you. Thank you for telling me. I wish you the best of luck. I hope it works out. And it did. Him and his partner are still together and, have children, and they're very happy. And I thought that I would never get over him. And I did, much easier than I expected to, because there was a level of honesty there. And I think that people don't understand that in open relationships, I think that there's a very toxic kind of man that loves the idea of a partially open relationship where they want to be able to go out into the world and sleep with whomever, and you just hold it down because you're supposed to know that, oh, you're the only person who means anything to me, but I'm going to go and sleep with these other people. Even to have that kind of relationship, it requires a level of emotional maturity and communication that those men aren't really prepared for. The other thing is, especially for guys who romanticize poly relationships, you have to be a really great communicator. You have to be open and honest. You also have to have money. You have to have money. If you want to be out here like that, otherwise, you just gonna have several bitches disappointed in you at all times because you're not delivering on anything. Like, well, what we here for? You know what I'm saying? I don't think that a lot of people are qualified to enter into those relationships like they think they are. It requires more than what people think. It's not a free for all. It requires more from what I gather, actually. But I have been sitting with, why do I desire monogamy? And for me, I think that just as a cishet Black woman, I don't feel like I have as many options as a cishet Black man. I could go outside and throw a rock into a crowd and hit three gorgeous, educated, healthy, mentally stable women by mistake. I feel like you can comb the earth, and it's hard to find that in a man. I think that maybe we are only as faithful as our options. And if I was living in a world where I was surrounded by healthy, attractive, well-adjusted, self-aware, socially aware, employed, clean, normal men who looked like all the hot dudes from the 90s, I probably wouldn't want to be monogamous either. It's easy for me to say that I can be monogamous because I don't feel that tempted. I don't feel that attracted to a bunch of people. So it's giving me like something to sit with in terms of like how I define marriage and monogamy and being with someone, especially knowing that I'm not even like ready for that yet. So it's just, something I'm kind of figuring out. I was so excited that King of the Hill was getting a reboot. And I think the same day or the day after they announced that they were rebooting the show, the news broke that the character who played John Redcorn, Jonathan Joss, was murdered in a homophobic attack. I am so sad about that because I can't understand why you can justify to yourself that the way another person lives or navigates the world is so harmful to you that you need to end their life. If you don't understand people being gay, okay. If you think that it is a sin, okay. I think all this shit is crazy, but I can almost see your logic there. You cannot explain to me why you need to kill or physically harm someone for being gay, for being trans, for being bi, for being non-binary. That is never going to curl over for me. There is no logic to it. And it's so unfair. It's so unfair. Not just because like I found him to be talented and loved him on Parks and Rec. It just makes me question humanity because fucking why? Like, homophobia is so fucking illogical. Like, what I order in the privacy of my home at 3 a.m. on Amazon isn't going to make you come. Why are you invested in it? Why do you care? It's just so weird. Rest in peace to that man, and to, sending love and light to all the people who knew and loved him. If you are a King of the Hill fan, like, this is a huge loss. And I also saw a clip from some sort of panel that the creators were doing where I don't think that he was invited and he stood up to speak and they kind of brushed him off. So now I'm kind of questioning whether or not I even want to watch the reboot because I don't fucking love that. So I'm going to check back and see like if they've released any kind of like statement explaining them fucking selves, and we'll circle back. Okay, lastly, so the new job, we make like $3 more, right? And we have friend of the pod, friend of the life, Adam, as our financial advisor. He has me on a very strict financial plan, financial diet. I'm gonna do my best to stick to it and to not have wasted that man's time. I went to Sephora and made some impulse purchases that I did not need to make. I recognize that, and I'm giving myself grace that I'm practicing at this. I'm getting better at this. My therapist was like, when you feel tempted to buy things that you don't need, you have to remind yourself, like, I have everything that I need right now in this moment. And I'm practicing it. I'm working on it. I'm finding it. I think beauty and skincare can really make you fall into consumerism super, super, super hard. And I just recently saw a TikTok video where a creator was talking about how um, ambitious people, no, healed people aren't that ambitious. And I've been trying to find a way to vocalize that for a while in a way that makes sense. But basically, if you have gotten to a place in your healing journey where you're defining things on your own terms, you're exercising your free will, and you can take a step back from what you've been socialized to believe to define success on your own terms, you will find that you don't need as much money as you think you need. This creator was saying that her priority was having a life where she could rest and have ease. And once she did the calculations of what that would look like and what it would take, she recognized, like, oh, I don't have to work as hard as I thought that I had to work. And she can have all the things that she enjoys for herself. She can go on a vacation. She can have nice meals. She can buy the things that she wants to buy. But she's not aiming for this, like, I think a lot of people are like, I want to be a billionaire, and it's like, you actually don't need that. And I just read The Cut does these things where it's like a day in the life of, and there was one about this newly I think that this woman unseated Taylor Swift as the world's richest woman, something like that. She's in tech, and reading about what she does in a day, I'm like, this woman's life sounds horrible. All she does is just like work and do several workouts a day and tries to prioritize having dinner with friends, but sometimes kind of works through that. That sounds horrible. And I think that, and I'm not saying that woman is unhealed, but it, just saying that, what are you working for? What are you working towards? Is it what you want? Or are you working in order to impress other people who you don't even know? And one of the things that was a really key point of contention in my last relationship was when it came down to us talking about the kind of home we would want together. It said so much about our values and how they were misaligned that I wanted a home where people would feel welcome and, like, hey, I'm in the neighborhood. Can we, not all the time, of course, obviously, but I really just love the people in my life, and I like the idea of being able to host them and have them over and have discussions and be a safe space, especially because that's how I grew up. Our home was a safe space for my brother and I's friends. And that's how we, found like our chosen siblings, was through that openness. And he didn't really want that. He wanted this like very modern home that was like a party house, but he didn't really even like hosting people. So it's like you want the trappings of what you think a successful person looks like instead of defining that for yourself. Even when it came to looking at rings, I was not completely sold on marriage, but I did want a ring because I am just a girl. So we were looking at rings. I knew the kind of ring that I wanted, but there was a specific kind of ring that he wanted me to have. And I was like, well, I don't really like that. And I was like, if we go with a lab grown diamond, I can get a bigger stone, and I want either a yellow or a pink stone. And he was just like, oh no, like if anybody knows that you have a lab grown diamond, people gonna look at me. And I'm like, how would anyone know? Number one. And number two, I have 2 degrees in fashion. You can't really come to me and tell me that what I like isn't correct, because I know why I like what I like. Even without making it very scholarly, I'm allowed to desire what I desire. And the things that I wear and do are not about impressing other people in that regard. Like, what are we talking about? This is my ring that I would be wearing for the rest of my life. And he's like, well, I'm paying for it and I have to look at it. Huge fucking red flag. Like, huge. So, said that to say, for people who are in the process of healing or in the process of growing more intimately with themselves, you just don't really find yourself wanting to work as hard for the approval of other people. And if you're defining success on your own terms, you might be surprised to learn that what you have is either enough or you're not too far from that being enough. Like you could put in a little bit more extra, whatever, but you don't need to be working yourself to death to earn things that aren't really about you or in alignment with the life that you desire. Like, what life do you really desire without saying how you want other people to perceive you? Just something to think about. You know, you don't have to answer right now. Write it in your journal. Talk it over with your therapist. Discuss it over brunch. However you want to do it. Don't answer now. Anywho, thank you guys for tuning in. We're still on track for our yearly goal. Oh, lastly, I went to a networking event last night. I made myself go. It was very hot yesterday. I do not like I don't like how I feel after a day of work and then commuting somewhere. Like, I feel like my makeup is old. I feel like I done sweated out my whole outfit. And to other people, I look fresh face as fuck. But to me, I feel like I look like a sweaty grease ball, especially because this is a lot of hair. My hair is short, but it is very thick. It is very dense. It gets very hot. We might be braided up by this time next week, y'all. I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the 8 weeks. My stylist told me I have to, because y'all know I'm a 4 to 6 weeks girl with my relaxer. Anyway, I made myself go, and I just was not really in the mood to be like a social butterfly. So I stood in one spot, and just a rotation of delightful people came and went and came and went. I made a couple of really good connections, hopefully people that will be on the podcast and or I'll be on theirs. So I'm very excited about that. Especially because, again, friend of the pod, friend of the life, Adam was like, it's important to, you don't have to go out and talk to every single person at a networking event. As long as you make a few significant connections with a few quality people, that's enough. So if you are, especially as the social season is kicking up, because it's, warm and all the things, if you are invited to these places and you have the opportunity to connect professionally or socially, just stand in one spot and see what comes to you. Like, there's a message in there. There's a sermon in there, but I am not that girl, so do with it what you will. And we will talk again soon. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, rate, review, all the things, and join the Patreon so that I have more money to put into my brokerage account so that I can go shopping at Sephora. Okay, because I just want to be able to every now and again, just do the most. So anywho, talk to you guys soon.